Hey guys.
Hey, I'm Cassie.
I'm
This
Daniel.
is Daniel. We're the Drift Roberts group. And oops, I bumped the camera. And today we are going to be talking about the third step in our home buying series, which is setting a budget. If you've missed our last 2 weeks of the home buying series, you can find them in the description. You can click on that link.
Yeah, so it can be a little confusing trying to figure out what your budget should be to buy a home, especially in this area, in the greater Portland area, where home prices are quite a bit more expensive. The most conservative guidelines say that you should have only about 25% of your monthly budget going towards your house, but that would mean that in order to buy an entry-level house, you'd have to have a budget or an income of close to $100,000, and that's just not really realistic for a lot of people. So a realistic but still conservative number that a lot of people use is called the 28-36 rule. And that's saying that 28% of your income should go, and this is your gross income before taxes, 28% should go to your housing costs, but only 36 total should be a part of your debt. Now the thing is, if you have no other debt, then that opens up more room to pay for housing. And that's why having debt makes it really hard to buy a house. So following this rule is kind of a guideline to help you just get in the ballpark of where you should be and how much you should be spending every month on your home.
So we break down 8 different categories that you want to add in to your budget. And the very first one is your down payment. And this is what we talked about the very first week, is saving for that down payment. So I won't go into a lot of detail, but just to review, typically first-time home buyers save around 3 to 5% for a down payment. And then on top of that, you want to save an additional 2% to cover the associated costs.
Yeah. The next part is principal and interest. There's an acronym PITI, which stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And that's commonly used about just to describe the components of your monthly payment, but only the first two, principal and interest, are actually going towards paying your loan off. So the other components we're going to talk about as we go to the next steps.
So the T for taxes is property taxes. And your taxes are determined by either your state or local government. And each year a county assessor will look at your home and determine what you need to be paying each year. So in Oregon, this amount for property taxes is actually included in your loan payment. So your lender will then separate that payment out and will actually send that payment in for you, which is really helpful. Typically, the tax rate you can expect is between 1 to 2% of the home's value. And again, you'd want to make sure what it is for the specific home you're buying. If you have any questions, your real estate agent is a really good one to ask.
That's true. The next part is homeowners insurance. Now, the insurance part of PITI is actually split into 2 components, the first of which is homeowners insurance. Now, it's always a good idea to make sure that your property is covered by insurance in case there's an earthquake or a fire or some kind of disaster happens. You want to make sure that you don't have to pay those costs out of pocket. But at the same time, your lender is going to make sure that your home is insured as well, because if something happens to your home, then they're also in a way on the hook. So they want to make sure that you're insured. Now, if they ever find out that you don't have insurance on your home, then they have the authority to get their own insurance, which is usually going to be way more expensive. So always make sure you have insurance on your home. And now costs are always going to vary depending on the type of insurance you get, but you should expect to pay in the ballpark of around $50 per month for that. Now, the second component of insurance is private mortgage insurance. Now, this is different from homeowners insurance because it's actually for the lender in case you default on your loan, which you won't do, right? Because you're looking at these videos. So if you have a down payment that's less than 20%, the chances are that you're going to have to pay this private mortgage insurance. Now, if you have an FHA loan, which is a government loan for people that have lower credit, then you're actually going to be paying that PMI for the remainder of your loan. The only way to get rid of it is by refinancing, or if you pay the loan off completely. Now, I don't know if I said this, but on other loans, once you reach 20% equity in your home, you don't have to pay the private mortgage insurance anymore. So that's where you get the 20% down as a rule that a lot of people say. Even though that doesn't really happen anymore for first-time home buyers. Now, expect your private mortgage insurance to be between 0.5% for a lot of conventional loans, and I think FHA is actually I think it's 2.25. But I don't know if it can go higher than that, but I say prepare for up to 2.5%.
Something else you want to be thinking about in your budget is if your home is within a homeowners association. Not all homes are, so you really want to make sure you know that before going to buy a home if you don't want to be in a homeowners association. And this is a local jurisdiction where they can charge a monthly or an annual fee that can go toward things like maintenance of the community as well as some of the local amenities.
Yeah. If you go into a subdivision where all the grass and landscaping is perfectly manicured, you might want to check if there's an HOA.
Yes. Yeah. So HOA payments are not included in the PITI amount.
So the next part is homeowner repairs. Now, if you decide to get a good home warranty, that can cover a lot of issues that crop up, like if your central AC goes out, if your furnace goes out, if your water heater, things like that. But there's other things that your home warranty won't cover, such as like pests or if you have a leak or something like that. So it's good to have money saved up in case these things happen. And those are unexpected repairs, but there's also expected repairs, like your roof. Eventually that's going to have to be replaced. Siding eventually will need to be replaced. Painting. Now these are big, expensive items that it's good to start saving now and have an idea of when in the future those are going to need to happen. And it can really save a lot of headache so that you're not frantically trying to come up with $10,000 to do a repair that you could have been saving for the last 15 years for once you're in a home.
Yeah. So that's all 8 that we're talking about in this video. Because your budget is going to be unique to you, you want to make sure you do research outside of this in case there's any other categories that you want to include in your specific budget. So keep an eye out next week. We're going to be talking about credit score and how to raise it. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Cheers. I make that face all the time. I'm trying to finish.